There are voices out there, including the South African president, who has called you cowards.
Yeah.
You've got other Afrikaners who are saying that you're not refugees, you're opportunists, that you've abandoned the country. What would you say to those people?
I had to leave a 5-bedroom house, which I will lose now because I'm not going to pay for it. Behind, my car behind, my dogs behind, my mother behind. It is not, I didn't come here for fun, but my children are safe.
There's been a lot of criticism on my interview with Pauline Bax of the International Crisis Group, who more or less dismantled the United States president's assertion that a genocide is being committed in South Africa. In my chat with her, she claimed that Trump's public statements about genocide is designed to put pressure on the South African government, and in particular aimed at discrediting South Africa's genocide case in the International Court of Justice against Israel. Some of you dismissed Bax as a woke liberal. There was no idea of what's going on in South Africa, and some expressed their anger at me for giving Bax a platform at all. One or two things about that. I'm an Afrikaner, and my heart and my soul and everything about me is with the Afrikaner. I know, and I am appalled by the violence in the country, by the horrors of farm murders. I'm aware of the 140-plus race laws written against the white man in South Africa. I know and understand and appreciate the anger, the frustration, the fear that you experience on a daily basis. Some of you might be aware of the fact that I myself became a victim of transformation at a point in my life when I dedicated myself as a foreign correspondent to the cause of South Africa for the SABC, SREK, during the transition period in the early 1990s. And the painful experience I then had to be informed by my managers at the time that although my work might be appreciated, my skin color did not match the demands of the time, the demands of transformation. I empathize with those who have opted for refugee status. I have, as a journalist, retired now, and you may call me a has-been, I maintain the right to try to do objective and impartial journalism, which I believe is in the interest of the Afrikaner too. To stick to the facts and to at least acknowledge and respect international law. Let's consider at least how international law defines refugee status, how the term genocide is defined, and then shout. So let's take a look at how these things are defined by international laws. Genocide, as per Article 2 of the United Nations Genocide Convention, involves acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group, including killing, causing harm, or forcibly transferring children. Here are some modern cases of genocide that have been legally recognized by international courts or broadly acknowledged by the international community. Number 1, Rwanda, 10 million people dead, genocide 1994. Perpetrators, Hutu extremists. Victims, Tutsi population and moderate Hutus. Recognition, International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda ruled it as a genocide. 2, Bosnian genocide, 1992 to 1995. Perpetrators, Bosnian Serb forces. Victims, Bosniak, Bosnian Muslim civilians. Recognition, International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia and the International Court of Justice. Both found genocide, especially in Srebrenica. 3, the Yazidis. Genocide by ISIS, 2014 and onwards. Perpetrators, Islamic State, ISIS. Victims, Yazidi people in Iraq and Syria. Recognition, United Nations mandated investigations and national parliaments, the UK, Canada, have recognized it as genocide. In 2021, a German court issued the first conviction for genocide against a former ISIS member. Number 4, Rohingya. Genocide, 2016 till present. Perpetrators, Myanmar military. Victims, Rohingya Muslim minority. Recognition, ongoing ICJ proceedings. US State Department and several human right groups, have declared it as a genocide. 5. Darfur, genocide, 2003 till 2008. Perpetrators, Sudanese government and Janjaweed militia. Victims, ethnic groups in Darfur, Masalit, Zangwawa. Recognition, International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant against Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir for genocide. These are recognized either through international court rulings or widespread legal consensus among nations and human rights bodies. Part 2, modern groups that have been recognized as refugees. Definition. According to the 1951 Refugee Convention, a refugee is a person who, owing to a well-founded fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership of a particular social group, is outside their country of nationality and is unable or unwilling to return. There are recent examples of groups recognized or broadly treated as refugees. 1. Syrians, post-2011. Fled the civil war, chemical attacks, and state terrorist violence. Recognition, millions have received asylum or refugee status across Europe, North America, and the Middle East. 2. Ukrainians, post-2022 invasion. Fled the Russian invasion. Recognition, granted temporary protection or refugee status by European Union countries, Canada, and others. 3. The Afghans, post-2001 and especially 2021. Taliban takeover. Fled due to Taliban rule, political persecution, and threats to women's rights. Recognition, widely resettled as refugees in the US, Europe, and Central Asia. 4. Venezuelans, post-2014 crisis, escaped economic collapse, food scarcity, and political repression. Recognition, UNHCR considers them refugees under the Cartagena Declaration, accepted as refugees or protected migrants in South American countries and beyond. Number 5. Rohingya, Myanmar, fled genocide and ethnic cleansing. Recognition, recognized as refugees in Bangladesh and by the UNHCR. 6. South Sudanese, post-2013 civil war, fled inter-ethnic violence and famine. Recognition, resettled or protected in East African nations and under UN protection. 7. The Uyghurs in China. Some have fled alleged genocide and cultural persecution. Recognition, countries like the US, Canada, and the Netherlands have granted asylum or refugee protection on a case-by-case basis. On Afrikaners and refugee claims. There have been isolated cases where Afrikaners, white South Africans, have applied for refugee status, claiming persecution, particularly in Canada and Australia. However, these claims are not widely or officially recognized as valid refugee cases under international law. UNHCR and major refugee hosting nations have not formally categorized Afrikaners as a persecuted group warranting group refugee status. Most experts and governments consider crime in South Africa, including farm murders, to be a broad issue not constituting persecution under refugee law. These are the facts. This is international law, and international law applies to South Africa as well. Now let's consider the young man interviewed by the BBC and try to draw your conclusions from what he says and what we've just learned about refugee status and about the definition of the word genocide. Please leave your comment in the comment box below. Thank you for watching.